Series 11, Episode 8, The Witchfinders.
Which Witchfinders?
Um, Synopsis. Team TARDIS lands in early 17th century England in the midst of a witch trial. And despite her own non-interference policy, the 13th Doctor cannot help but try and stop the killings. However, with King James growing suspicious of the Doctor and her ways, it is up to her friends to play Witchfinders and uncover the hidden mysteries behind the trials.
Mm-hmm.
But, I find that synopsis weird in that her own non-interference policy, she's constantly interfering. It's like
If I were in her situation, especially during those times, I would be interfering the fuck out of everything. But
you have to be careful with your interference, and I guess this is where she interferes only in as much as where history is not going the way history is supposed to go. She tries to bend it back towards historical accuracy, but that's maybe what we're going with the non-interference policy. But she's a mad woman with a box. Dropping in, helping out, learning.
She seemed too mad. She actually seems pretty happy most of the time.
Anyway, so Doctor's trying to get to one place, and TARDIS has a different idea. It's like,
as seems to be the case this season.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want to go. Well, sometimes I think she gets where she wants to go, because we had that moment in the one that are on the healing ship, the sort of hospital ship. Like, she gets to the planet with the stuff that she wants to pick through. So it goes there some ways, but only if the TARDIS wants to go there anyway. It's like it goes where she wants it to go. It goes where she wants to go when the TARDIS wants to go there herself. Okay, yes, because TARDIS is sentient and a she, from what 11 was talking about, but
and from the fact that she appeared as a she.
Yeah, but try not to think about it too much, because your eyes go cross-eyed.
I mean, a ship is always a she.
But this is the TARDIS. It's it's special.
Still a ship.
Unless the geisha.
We don't have anything that navigates time, so don't know what that would actually be called. I guess ship, but Anyway.
It's a dimensionally transcendental time travel capsule. A TTC Type 40.
Yeah.
To be particular.
Yes. And it was outdated by the time when he got it. For some reason, the TARDIS wouldn't tell her exactly when and where they were. For some reason. And,
that takes away from the fun of figuring it out for herself.
I suppose, and the TARDIS is fairly willful. It's like, no, I don't feel like it. What?
Well, you see, before the TARDIS used to take them where she needed to go. He needed to be.
Yeah.
And then later on, eventually, she kind of gave up because of the personality of the Doctor at the time. He stopped being that, wanting to help everybody. And since this new Doctor is one of the wanting to help everybody types,
Hmm.
she brings her to where she wants, where she can help.
Or she,
Eh, she's a
She's
little more
kind
open to the ending up in the wrong place. Oh, okay, I'm in the wrong place and time. But okay, well, something's interesting here. The TARDIS wouldn't bring me here if it wasn't interesting.
exactly. She's basically the Doctor's agent.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want to go there, but the TARDIS has said we're going there. We'll have to take we'll take a rain check on that, and we'll see the coronation of Elizabeth the First. Though
Next.
though having recently watched Day of the Doctor, that's kind of funny. Uh, going to watch the coronation of Elizabeth the First. Yeah, that's rich. Yeah, yeah, you'll see her. You've already have seen her before. Like, yeah. Anyway, so we get bobbing for apples and a celebration. Except it's a rather grim one, considering we've caught a witch, and we're going to
someone's about to be burned.
what?
I was saying someone's about to be burned.
No, dunked.
Drown.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. It wasn't until Salem that they started.
yeah. This was a dunking. No due process. So, you know, so no evidence really has to be presented. Just she's a witch. They didn't even have the decency to put a false nose on her.
Yeah. How do you know she's a witch?
Does she weigh as much as a duck?
Well, she turned me into a newt.
A newt?
Sorry, but I don't
I won't
think you
mess up.
did. I don't think you have the Matt Smith face to be Newt.
What?
Newt Scamander from Harry Potter.
Okay.
He looks like Smith,
Oh,
kind
okay.
of.
Well, we were just quoting one of the greatest movies of all time.
I know. And
Besides,
Yeah, and she was trying. She was deliberately throwing things at her feet to knock us over, just for funs.
Oh, fine. Well, clearly it worked.
Yeah.
I believe your line is, "I got better."
Yeah,
uh,
I think I said that twice.
but yes, so unscientific. You can't figure out whether she's a witch by trying to drown her. You have to weigh her with a duck. If they weigh the same, because they both
And she's
float,
made of wood.
she is made of wood and therefore a witch.
It's a fair cop.
Although the dunking thing they used was supposed to be was supposed to be just a big tree, but yeah, it didn't work. It's supposed to be a big tree, but it's not. It's not only just a tree. Ugh. Whatever. Anyway. So we get our antagonist or at least our eventual antagonist. At the river, Becca Savage is condemning an old woman called Mother Twiston for witchcraft. They tell her, hey, you shouldn't interfere, but the doctor goes in anyway. And doctor tries to save her, but can't pull her away in time. And to which the doctor calls Becca a murderer.
Well, she is.
What?
Well, I mean, she is.
Yeah, she's a murderer. Yes, and she she claims to be a witchfinder, uh, and starts putting a kibosh on her reign of terror for the moment. Uh, uh, let's see. So we find out Becca's a real piece of work. She got her all this power from owning the land because it was bequeathed to her when her husband died. But when okay, so that's not too crazy. But then she doesn't ride in a carriage because she had the horses shot because they were possessed by the devil. Yaz gets sent off to talk with Willa. And in the meantime, a mysterious figure watches them from the trees. Um. So they find out she's killed 35 people. She's claimed are witches, as you know.
Serial killer.
Yes, she's a murderer. She's quite the serial killer, and using them as a means to explain why this this didn't work, or this natural occurrence happened that wasn't good. It's like, oh, it must be the devil at work. And who's in league with the devil? Witches. We must find the witches and get rid of them. And we shall celebrate when we kill the witches. No need for, any sort of evidence. No need for any sort of trial, even. No due process. You're a witch! Dunker. It's like trial by ordeal. It's like, that's not a real... That doesn't prove anything. You haven't proven anything. You're just like, I want to kill them. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, that is a common thing that happened back then.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that, trial by ordeal wasn't a thing that happened. That was a thing. But just that, from a modern perspective, before the moral innovation of due process, which some people don't believe should be a thing, they, that's why due process is good. Let's see. And we find out she explains King James' New Bible. So we're in the era of King James. Suffer not a witch to live. It says, Gibson is from the Old Testament. You should read the New Testament. Love thy neighbor. So, yeah. Take for that what you will with your religious perspective. So, the doctor tries to play the card of, oh, I know King James, and he wouldn't approve of your methods. And the mask guy comes in, and it's King James. Actually, you should kill. And things coming in that her efforts were heroic. And at this point, the King James goes, oh, she tries to pull the whole Witchfinder General. It's like, no, you can't be a Witchfinder General. He reads it as Witchfinder Assistant. So this is part of that, psychic paper, works sometimes if it's something you're willing to believe, and you have, it's a bit like the Jedi mind trick, If you
And
can,
I
you can have training to resist the psychic paper, but
there was that one episode where the little kid's like, "That's just a blank piece of paper." It's like,
it,
oh, um, um, you're
yeah,
not very imaginative, are you?
yeah, it depends. Like the psychic paper works and doesn't work as is convenient for the moment as well, and it's got enough weaknesses where you can basically at any time say, oh no, he's for some reason resistant to it in some way, uh, which he thinks Graham's the witch hunter general. Uh,
Because only a man can be a witch hunter.
or well, in charge, can lead. He was actually King James was quite intrigued by the thought of, who use a woman to catch a woman. Brilliant. He seemed to think that was a nifty idea. He didn't think she was good. She was a woman, so she couldn't be in charge. But using her to trap, witches by gaining their confidence by being another woman, that's all right. uh, uh,
It's a crafty move.
yes. Um, uh, and Ryan says he does paperwork. Oh, I just handle the paperwork. uh, and the funny thing about this whole thing is, you know, it's sort of subtle and not so subtle, like bits here and there of King James isn't entirely heterosexual.
I
And
loved how much he was flirting with Ryan.
it's like, okay, yes, okay, you are, and I don't know how much this is, how accurate that is, but what I've seen on Wikipedia seems to suggest that may not be wholly inaccurate. the way some of now, admittedly, it's Wikipedia, and who knows who's writing that and whether it's true, but it doesn't
It's
seem
not been
from
disproven. Let's
what
put it that way.
what'd you say?
I said it has not been disproven. Let's put it that
It's a theory, it's a thought. We don't know how he, we have no recordings of the way he went about his business beyond major events. I mean, major events, we've seen him and maybe recorded that he came to this place or gave this particular speech, maybe, but his day-to-day life, it's probably not recorded to that detail, so it's, whether he acted upon it or not, he may or may not have been not entirely heterosexual. um, so, let's see. Okay. Okay, so we got past that. So Yaz gets to Willa, who's sort of burying her grandmother at this point. Or she'd buried. She was doing a ceremony. She'd already buried her. A weird muddy tendril pops up, and they barely get away from it. They go.
Which,
They,
of
they
course, is just another she's a witch
yeah.
thing, because obviously She's attacked by a demonic entity. She must be the cause of it.
Clearly.
Clearly, that makes so much sense that they would attack themselves with their witchy abilities. Yes, that's the
No one
perfect
knows
cover.
how the
Nobody would
witch's mind
suspect somebody who was
works.
attacked by a witch to be a witch. You gotta double think these witches.
Maybe the witches just don't like each other.
Oh no, they're all in league with the devil. They all are working towards one goal. There's only one type of person who would do that, and it would be an evil person. And they're all in cahoots to do evil, to do their master's bidding.
I
So
could bring in so
If you
much
look into his
commentary
eyes.
on that, but
what?
I don't think that would be appropriate.
What'd you say?
I said, only if you look into his eyes. That's when you have to do the master's bidding.
Other
I'm
master.
Fast, you will obey.
So you go up to Becca's room, snoop around, find, various sundry items, including a large axe and some medicine. Yaz comes back, telling the doctor about it. Doctor scans mud. It's just plain mud. And Graham and Ryan are sent off to keep King James occupied.
Well, I'm sure Ryan can accomplish that pretty easily.
Oh my.
But does he? Does he want to?
But you will.
No one ever said anything about consent.
Yeah.
It's good to be the king.
Oh, history of the world, huh?
I mean, you can't do comedy if you don't know the classics.
Indeed.
True.
That is a brilliant man there.
And by this we mean Mel Brooks,
Yes.
not King James.
Oh, I know.
Yes, that's what I was going for. Mel Brooks is quite the brilliant comedian. I mean, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen anything by Mel Brooks, find basically anything by Mel Brooks and watch it.
It's all good.
It's basically all brilliant. I can't think of one that's bad that I've ever seen of his that's bad. It's all brilliantly funny.
He was even brilliant in a movie he didn't make when he was in the Muppets.
He's always funny, and if what was on the page wasn't funny, he would have said, "Hey, can I rewrite this? Can I ad-lib this? I got a funnier line."
Yeah.
Okay, it's
was a
Mel
paragon.
freaking Brooks.
Still is a paragon of comedy.
It's Mel freaking Brooks. If he tells you he's got a funnier line, you listen. Okay. Anyway, back on track. So they talk with Willa. Willa's gonna run before she's killed next. Willa explains she was, she and her grandmother both made medicines.
She's a different kind of doctor.
She doesn't believe in the devil, apparently, and Willa says there are more wonders to be found in nature without having to make anything up, which seems something the doctor would agree with, because that's basically what the doctor says on a lot of things. It's like, yeah, it's so crazy out there, and you're making stuff up to make it more crazy? Okay. Um, uh, there's a little slightly ham-fisted thing with Yaz. I get why they're trying to do it, and the whole idea of the witch hunt, I mean, her whole race speech she gives, but it does feel a little ham-fisted, a little forced in there. I understand why it's there. It doesn't feel natural. This seems more like a more of a due process sort of story, and that sort of thing, and than a race thing. It feels a little heavy-handed. But anyway, uh,
Yeah, but
we've
they have to shove that into every episode this season.
yep,
Pretty
I know.
much.
Yeah, it's like okay, you start hearing that, and it's like okay,
We
get through your
haven't
little
mentioned it yet this episode. We
what?
need to add it.
Yeah,
But it's not going to flow. I don't care. Add it.
yeah,
We're progressive. We have to add it every time we can.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like and usually the Doctor, at least through like 9 through 11, didn't do that. It usually wasn't ham-fisted. It usually followed from whatever was going on at the time, and 12 for the most part didn't do it, though. um, Oxygen or Extremis, he goes on some little mini rant about capitalism's just evil sort of thing. It's like it's wrong. It's like
I
that
mean, if
whole
you're
set of
literally having
episodes
to
doesn't make any
buy
sense.
air,
Well, the thing is, that whole thing doesn't make any sense. Like in a there's no regulatory structure at all. These people, it isn't like this is an earth flagged vessel, you must follow these rules, and they can actually get people working for them with this sort of situation, and people still buy their products with them working with this situation. That one's less of a problem, but you'd think there would be some sort of capitalism works great. It's just a little light regulation, it works great. It lifts more people out of poverty because the alternative is terrible. So, but click back on track from that sort of thing. But yeah, it does feel a little ham-fisted, but I know why they put it in there. Um, uh, where were we? We find out Becca is Willa's cousin, who married off into money. Uh, Meanwhile, over with King James, who tells him about they sort of talk with King James about their youth, both of them losing a parent, and all the different things where they have it, but he doesn't trust people because like all of the people that were supposed to take care of him died by murder or in
Or
suspicious circumstances. Um, uh, and he's looking for protection from God for doing the divine work, for being, I'm going out there getting rid of the witches, so God will bless me. And that's what his whole bit is with all this witch hunting business.
But he didn't even sneeze.
Sorry, what?
But he didn't even sneeze.
Anyway, They go back to check on the mud, check out the mud, and Mother Tristan suddenly plops out of the grave, covered in mud. And it's there's something alive in the mud, and it's digging dead bodies. Uh, so they're trying to figure out what's going on with the mud, and then suddenly more corpses rise out of the mud. And while Willow's first instinct is to think they're witches, Doctor's like, no, it's sentient mud. Yeah, and then Becca declares, "Oh, you're a witch because mud creatures are attacking you." What?
Because you're under attack. You must be the witch.
Yeah. It must have just gone awry. Yeah, you've done something to displease the evil one. Alfonso tries to kill the witches, but they kill him. At which point, the most common request of the Doctor is uttered: "Run!" Nice to meet you, Rose Tyler. Run for your life. Oh, love
When
it.
I say run, run.
Yes.
One does not simply ignore the Doctor when the Doctor says to run.
Yes. If those doctors run in the same direction. Wherever.
Even said that, and I'm pretty sure every incarnation at some point.
Yeah. It's like, I start running, you start running. Because odds are the Doctor knows what's going on. Anyway. So they need to go back. They need to go, go take care of this business. And she wants to go back. It's like King's like, what are you doing? She wants to go back. Anyway, so witches or an alien mud invasion could be happening, but both at the same time is most unlikely. Let's see. At this point, Becca declares the Doctor a witch after she's sending off the others to go do things. But at this point, she's taken to be killed. Anyway, to be tried. The Doctor's taken to be tried. Anyway, so the mud creatures grab the axe from Becca's house. They hear the witch trial starting, and the Doctor would have stopped it, but unless let's go check that out. And
sure enough, the Doctor's on trial.
Well, the King James is interrogating her trying. well, you're of the devil. I want to know what how does this magic wand work, and what's the secret of existence, and she's like, no, I'm not.
I'm not a devil, I'm an alien. Get it straight.
Yes.
Oh, wait. You
She's
can't
like,
get
I'll tell you secrets of existence in exchange for my wand back. It's like I will not be fooled by your words. Why would I give the witch back her wand? But she tells he knows the truth about his mother, and she must first understand the human heart. But anyway, some sappy stuff. They take her to the river, and Becca's hand goes weird upon touching the branch she's using, or the tree she's using as a dunking thing. And Becca starts to drip mud
from her.
Yeah, ice.
Because
King-
that's totally normal.
Yeah.
Hey, Beck, I think your mascara is running.
Um.
I'm not wearing any
Question?
mascara.
Could she be a witch? She's crying mud. I don't.
Right?
I don't think. And I clearly I don't have my wand. How could I bewitch her? So yeah. uh. So King James hesitates for a second, but then is like, "God, dump her." And he orders the branch lifted again after a few minutes, but Doctor's gone. She comes out of the water a few feet away.
Hmm.
She spent some time with Houdini apparently. Literally, is what's said.
Apparently, this doctor's thing is name dropping.
Gotta love name dropping.
Well, they'll do it to an extent.
Yeah, but in the short time she's been the doctor, she's done it a lot more than most of her prior incarnations.
Banksy though, she kind of implied that was her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Or am I?
Though that could be just the doctor being playful, because the doctor does that.
The doctor is a little sassy.
Yeah. And most,
Not the doctor.
I hate fairy tales because most of the wizards turn out to be the good wizards turn out to be him.
Yeah. He was Merlin.
Yeah.
There was an episode of the Seventh Doctor revolved around that, where he had to face Don Morgana. Or Morgan, I think it was in that incarnation.
Morgan
Le Fay.
The mud creatures arrived with the mud creatures come with the axe. She tells them to stop. Bilehurst apparently means Sacred Tree Hill. Becca had cut down the tree they were using for the dunking thing because she didn't blocked her view. She got stabbed in the leg by the mud.
Injected by its evil toxin.
Well, it's sentience trying to take her over. She tried to get medicine for it. She thought it was witchcraft, but Yeah, she just started going on a witch hunt. Mother Twiston refused to amputate her leg, and so she killed Twiston for not cutting off her leg. Um, we find out they are the Morax, and they were
Maybe it's a better insurance plan.
they were imprisoned on the planet for war crimes. But thanks to her cutting down the tree, they've been freed, and they will fill the earth with full of pointless war and rage. And they want King James as a vessel. The Morax knock everybody out with a burst of energy. They so they go to restore the security system. It was basically the prison that was the tree. Uh, very the Morax are telling him, "Hey, this is we're the Morax," and he doesn't believe. He doesn't believe. He's like, "Oh, you're demons. You're demons." They Team TARDIS goes up and bats them away with bits of fire. Bits of the locking tree lit on fire. They reboot the system, and the Morax go back into the tree. And at this point, everything's resolved. Everything goes back in the tree. As one last act of not quite heterosexuality, the king asked Ryan to be his new protector with Antonio, or was it Antonio, or his former protector gone, and Ryan gives back the talisman. So
Because no, he's already got a life, and yeah, no.
no, and besides, they've got other shipping to do with him apparently. So King's gonna erase Bill Hurst from the records and keep the thing a secret.
And the Doctor uses one of the most famous sci-fi lines.
Yeah. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Clark's Law. But that goes through most everything. It was okay. There's some ham-fisted stuff. It's not the best of the season, but it's not too bad. The King James thing thrown in there he's an interesting character and an interesting interpretation of him, but it's mildly entertaining.
And at least it wasn't as bad as the Shakespeare one. How they did Shakespeare's character.
It was still entertaining.
It was an entertaining episode, but at least this portrayal wasn't as blatantly skewed.
I was just gonna say gay.
This portrayal was very gay. What are you talking about?
Yeah. The one thing is about this episode is they don't ever say it outright, but they imply the snot out of it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not gonna say it, but we're going to imply it at every opportunity. Yeah, overall, decent. Not the best, but not the worst. And so at this point, we've got 2 episodes left to review, and 1 episode we haven't seen yet.